Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Northern Nerdcast, where we showcase the geeky and nerdy people, groups, and events that happen in and around the city of Edmonton. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Please feel free to head on over to albertapodcastnetwork.com for a list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts. We would also like to encourage everyone out there that if you enjoy this episode, to share it with your friends on social media. This way, we are able to help grow the community here in Edmonton and keep everybody up to date with the latest news and information regarding the geeky and nerdy people, groups, and events. Also, if you or someone you know would like to be featured on the show, please contact us on over at northernnerdnetwork.com. Now, let's get on with the show. All right, so welcome back, one and all, to another edition of the Nerdcast. We're doing two tonight, and it's great to have you guys out here. I'm already tripped up on my own stuff here, but my name is Dan Schessel, and we have on today's edition of the Nerdcast none other than the greatest co-hostess ever in the entire universe. That's the universe. All the universes.
Whoa.
All multi-universes. Multiverse.
Yeah, in the multiverse.
In the multiverse.
Wow.
Chelsea Thompson. Say hello.
Hi, guys.
Also on today's edition of the Nerdcast, we have the crew from Midgardia RPG. We have Garm, Zio? Is that right?
Yeah.
And Hikaru.
Yep.
Awesome. And we're going to talk a bit more about Midgardia RPG a little bit later on in the show. But first off, I'd like to ask everybody about, we'd like to get down to the soul of everybody that we have on our episodes by asking them what they have on their geek shelf. So I'm going to start with Garm. Garm, even though people can't see you, what do you have on your geek shelf?
I have a motorcycle helmet painted up to look like Proto Man's helmet. It's probably the best item there. Did it myself over the course of about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive. So you did it yourself then?
Yeah.
That's dedication right there.
Spray painting late nights.
Now, I gotta ask, as a Proto Man fan, have you heard of the Proto Men, the band?
Yes,
Proto Man into a rock opera?
I love them. I have the cassette that they put out a while back, the like 1,000 copies one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're so great. They're awesome. I love, yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
That just happened. Nowhere else could that have happened other than on the Nerdcast here, folks.
We're getting super nerdy. We're talking about a rock game inspired by an 8-bit video game.
That's the way we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how about you, Zio? What do you have on your geek shelf?
Besides a lot of D&D books, I actually have displayed on my wall a Legend of Zelda Hylian Shield I got from Garm last year.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? 2 years ago?
2 years, yeah.
Wow.
Come on, show it.
I guess I could show it 1 second.
Yeah.
Just so you guys get the idea of how big this thing is.
Yeah. I mean, we need scale here. Right? I mean, I could tell. Oh, look at
that. Yes.
So people who can't see this, obviously, it is very large.
It's life size.
Yeah.
It's about the size of my torso. I know this because I smuggled it into the house under my jacket because I lived with them at the time.
You're like,
it's a proper shield. That's full coverage right there. Oh. No long swords getting through that business.
It's several inches thick too. Like that thing could take a hit.
Yeah. 1 or 2, then it'd just be ruined.
Yeah. Well.
But it's not, don't do that.
No. It looks awesome on my wall. Why would I want to damage it?
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy talk. All right.
Yes. Okay, who's our fluffy visitor that just joined us?
This is Earl.
Hi,
He's
Earl.
reminding me that his food was supposed to be out at 8 o'clock, and it is now 9 o'clock, and there is still no food in his plate.
Oh.
I'm
So,
such a bad
so is that on
mom.
your geek shelf, Hikaru?
Yes.
Look at that face. People who are listening to this episode are going to be sorely missing out on.
This
Well,
beautiful
they'll be able
fluffy
to
cat
hear him.
face.
They'll
Yeah.
be able to hear him.
Oh yeah.
You should tell them his full name.
Earl Grey of Caddington.
Oh, that's the best cat name ever.
I mean, we had like we talked about corgis in the first episode that we had on today, and now we're talking about. I mean, this is a great day for animal lovers.
Mhm.
That's awesome. All right. So how about you, Hikaru? What do you have on your geek shelf?
I have one too many, maybe.
Never.
Figurines. But I'll grab the bigger one. Hold on.
Ooh.
There we go.
Oh, yes.
Sailor Saturn, which is my favorite scout and the hardest to find merch of. So every single time my friends find any merch of her at all, it ends up on my shelf.
I think that one's actually from Garm as well.
Yep.
Yep.
I managed to find one every Christmas.
Yeah. See, I
A
have
different one every
a
year.
really chibi version of her too.
Nice.
Now, what makes Sailor Saturn like the one that you can't find?
Mostly because she doesn't show up in the series very much. She shows up as a
Added late.
pseudo villain, and then she basically dies at the end of that arc and is reborn afterwards, and is mainly a child for the whole other series, and then eventually shows up for Stars, which was never shown to any poor person who lived in the States. Yeah, that's pretty much why. There's actually plushies of all the sailors, including Pluto, which doesn't show up very much either, except Sailor Saturn. Like
And
apparently
villains.
they just yeah. There's plushies of the villains, but not of Sailor Saturn.
Aw. Now I'm like, 'cause I don't know, like, what are all the sailors like? Now I'm so curious, because now this is one of those things where I'm like, oh, this is part of my knowledge that I totally missed out on. So come on,
There's sailors for every planet, including Pluto, because Pluto was a planet back then.
It's still a planet now, isn't it? we brought it back, did we not?
It's a planetoid.
Is it?
It's a planetoid.
Okay,
It's
fine,
not
whatever.
a planet.
It's a planet.
Technicalities.
Yeah, it was downgraded to a planetoid.
There is no Sailor Earth because, we have a Sailor Moon instead. But other than that, yeah, there is a sailor for every planet. The idea in the bigger lore is that there's a sailor for every solar system as well. I don't know why ours ended up with one for every planet instead of solar system, but
Rules of anime.
Yeah, and again, like, it was Sailor Moon. Like, why was it not Sailor Earth? And like, why is there no moon ones for all the other planets?
Yeah, I mean, in to a certain degree, there's like helpers from moons of other planets, but generally not an actual sailor.
Yeah, like, it should have been like Sailor Titan, right?
Because like Phobos and Deimos were two crows that hung out with Sailor Mars, and in the manga they actually do have a humanoid form, but they're not exactly sailors. They're just helpers.
Sweet.
Let's see, and you learn something new every day. Awesome. All right, so that is fantastic. We are going to talk a bit about your guys' Midgardia RPG. Normally, we talk about each other's week. I feel like we don't need to really do that, but I do kind of want to hear from you guys. Like, how is your week so far?
Pretty good. Our friend here, Garm, got most of the Midgardia server involved in Warframe recently. So we've been playing a lot of Warframe, and by a lot of Warframe, I think we're averaging something like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
And they had their big convention event this week, so they're doing a bunch of reveals of all the new features coming over the next year. It's nuts. I've never been so hyped for a game. Well, not in years anyway.
That's awesome. So how about you, Garm? What have you been up to?
Warframe, like
All right.
an embarrassing amount per day, honestly.
And you, Zio?
I am the only one in the group that is not playing Warframe, mostly because my computer probably couldn't handle it. I have been instead playing a lot of Splatoon and getting ready for the next Splatfest.
Nice. Now, wasn't like because I got an Xbox One here. Now, didn't they just like give out a bunch of stuff on Xbox One a little while ago for Warframe, like some coins or something? I can't remember.
Maybe, I don't know. We're all playing on PC.
Oh, you're all on PC.
PC Master Race, man.
Although they announced a Switch release at the event this weekend.
Ooh.
So fancy.
Some of us will probably be getting it.
Yeah, to be on the go with Warframe.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work, but yeah, the aiming might be more interesting with the whole like motion control.
Just sign into whatever that Shaw Wi-Fi. This is always good, right?
Yep.
That's solid stuff.
No. Someone here has experiences with that.
That is awful stuff. Don't. That's brutal. That's not a good way to the game. Unless you really want to be like all over the map for everybody else, because you'll be like flashing all over the place. No one will ever catch you.
It's good for PvP.
Yeah. Great.
I can't tell it be an advantage or a disadvantage.
Well, I've watched people sometimes. I watch them play. They're like, it's so weird. I feel like I'm so much better when I'm with the bad internet connection. It's because you look like here to everybody else on every other screen, right? It's great. All right. So yeah, like I said, we're going to talk about Midgardia RPG in just a moment, but stay tuned as we talk a little bit about our sponsors. And there's music here that people will hear and talking.
Catchy background music.
Yeah, catchy background music. It was fantastic.
We have a whole ad spiel that we do about one of our sponsors.
Who are fantastic, by the way. They're all
the
fantastic.
Whole song and dance number with jazz hands and everything.
Yeah, you totally missed out. All right. And we're back. I want to thank everyone out there for watching this edition and listening to this edition of the Nerdcast. Today on the episode, we have Midgardia RPG joining us. And first off, I'd like to ask you guys, let's go with Garm here. What is Midgardia RPG?
This is a Karu question, I think. She is the heart and soul of this group.
All right, let's go with that.
Midgardia RPG started something like 2 years ago, I think, more or less. When a group of us went with, we had been role playing D&D, game, but over the internet with friends, and we were like, hey, what if we stream it? Because we had gotten to the point where the story was interesting enough that we wanted to share it with other people. Mm-hmm. But because we had been playing privately, it's like we don't have anything and we'd have to like talk about it. But what if we record it? So we started actually recording first locally, and I still have some recordings of some pretty interesting first sessions. And then when we realized that we were gonna finish an arc, we were like, well, start of a new arc, we could start streaming there. And then Garm went, hey, what if we start playing Star Wars as well? So we ended up with Drifters and started streaming twice a week, playing Drifters Star Wars game, and on Fridays we had a typical D&D game. That's awesome. It kind of grew from there. Then we ended up doing a 24-hour stream for Extra Life.
Yep.
Nice.
With different games, and it's kind of taken off from there.
So let me ask you, like, 'cause I played the Star Wars RPG, but the Fantasy Flight game. What is Drifters?
Drifters was the name of our group. So the name of the actual campaign. We used the old Wizards of the Coast version, however.
Saga Edition.
Saga Edition.
Yeah, Saga.
Why? Because all of us were D&D fans and already knew the D20 system, so it was a lot easier to just pick up Saga Edition, which is also D20 based, and it's just a Star Wars version of D&D.
Yeah, I find a lot of people, when they've come from a D&D background, they tend to slide more towards the old Wizards of
Saga
the Coast
Edition.
one. Yeah, Saga Edition one.
There's Saga Edition. There's a D20 version, but Saga Edition seemed better.
Yes.
Nobody likes D20 revised. Actually, straight up nobody.
What about the Fantasy Flight did re-release the old version, the old Wizard of the Coast one.
Was it the Wizards of the Coast one or the original like Star Wars D6?
It's I think it might have been the D6 one actually.
Yeah, I think it might have been
Sorry.
D6.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's awesome that you guys were able to do that, right? So what was the impetus for you guys to say, hey, you know what, this is the thing that we should do? Like, I mean, streaming is one thing, but to actually come together and say, hey, we should all do this. And like, for me, I know getting people together on a regular basis can be a pain in the butt as it is. How about you guys? Like trying to get this group together. What was
how do you maintain that for 2 years and counting?
Well, a lot of us are freelancers, which helps.
Yes.
So you're just
I still ask myself how I DM 2 sessions a week, every single day, every single week for, what was it, 1.5 years?
Yeah.
About that.
Because I was the DM for both. So there was a lot of prepping on my end.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, because I know how much it is, because I was doing the one RPG.
Yeah,
and
Dan was our
out
GM
all the time for that one.
And now I do I have Mitchtim going on once in a while. We had different other things, and now we've got a crap ton of other things that are coming up, and half of them at least are being DM'd by me.
And this is why we had Garm start DMing some stuff.
Yes,
on
thankfully,
the side.
Garm helps now.
I do the weird stuff. If it's not D&D based, it's probably me running it.
That's
Except
awesome.
for Mitch Jim.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff are you guys running now at this time?
Well, we still have the Wanderers campaign, which has been the one that has been running for nearly 3 years now. 1 year offline, 2 years online. It's slowing down a bit. We're kind of getting into the last bits of it, and that's D&D. We're actually switching, starting last week. We switched to every other week because it was getting too much for me. We finished a campaign of Magimonsters. We started a campaign of Mecha Hack last week, and we have a couple of things coming up, including Hyperlanes, which is a sci-fi D&D system. So it uses the same 5th edition rules, but it's a setting for science fiction. So no magic, etc., etc.
That's awesome.
And after that, we're running another 5th edition module that I'll be doing called Legend of Hyrule, Chain of Awakening, and that's going to be a Hyrule setting for 5th edition.
Nice.
So I just want to I'm just kind of curious, for each week, you guys have people who would essentially come in. Do you stream it live?
Yeah, we stream it live. We have a Discord channel that's pretty active all the time. Most of our campaigns, we go, hey, this is the sign up. We're going to be doing it every week on such date, such time, whoever can make it, and approximately how many weeks it's going to be. They'll sign up for it. We try to aim to have 2 games a week for Twitch purposes. So we have content on 2 days. And then it's just, sign up. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, you know what? We had to cancel this session. We're going to do a one-shot. Who wants to play? And people will sign up.
Nice.
And most
That's
of the
awesome.
one-shots are done by Garm and weird systems that are usually simpler to play than D&D, because D&D can take a while to make a character sheet.
So related to that, when you guys, pulled the trigger and decided, we're going to start recording this, and then, we're going to switch to the live stream, what did you find the response to be like? How quickly did it grow? How far flung or far reaching do you get people from? What has that been like for you guys?
I think we went 1 year with maybe one viewer. And friends, but yeah. Recently though, it's been growing in numbers. We managed to get Twitch affiliate, and then it kind of just started climbing. We have like still it's like 7-10 viewers average per stream. It does. I think part of it is also affected by the fact that we're a long, like it's actual plays that last 3 to 4 hours.
Long form, yeah.
So yeah, not many people can hang around for 4 hours listening to someone.
No, that's you gotta put it on in the background while you're like washing dishes or doing laundry and like hang out for the whole game.
That's why we ended up opening a YouTube and just uploading everything there too, so that people can have that to listen to.
Nice. And now, because I'm a sucker, people who listen to and watch the show often know that I'm a sucker for beginnings and origin stories. How did RPGs and D&D come into each of your lives? How did that discovery happen for each of you? And then how did you find each other to form your community? Zayo, you want to start? How did you come across D&D?
It first started playing in high school. It was just a bunch of friends killing time. It was a lot of dumb fun, but Garm was actually a part of that. And then I fell off of D&D for a while. College, we played for a little while again. Again, it was mostly just dumb fun. It wasn't anything long term. And then Critical Role happened. And then a bunch of us friends on Discord were like, hey, we should play. And that's honestly where Wanderer started. It was our first campaign, and it's been running since then. And yeah, blame Critical Role.
I'm gonna put this out there because I mean we've had a few people on the show that have done sort of the same thing, and Critical Role seems to be that one thing that you can see that baseline where it was like, okay, yep, we all play D&D, but a Critical Role hits, and all of a sudden, poof, it just shoots straight up. And you could see as soon as that show hit online, it was just like, yeah,
everyone was playing.
Yeah, everyone was playing, right? So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I will add one other thing. Our Star Wars game actually started. We had Karu and I had gone to see Rogue One. And we left the theater, and Karu said, I wonder if people would be interested in a Star Wars game.
Yes.
We had signups immediately.
Yeah.
Star Wars is always a yes.
Yes.
How about you, Hikaru? How did D&D come to be a part of your life?
I actually started pretty late. It was in college when I went to a after class basically group that was streaming different anime, and I was like, well, this is a good chance to meet people that like the same things that I do. I ended up participating in a lot of karaoke's and winning them, and became friends with the organizers, and eventually got invited to the organizers D&D game, and that kind of got me hooked. I was the only female, of course. But I was the only female who actually lasted that long. They got bored of D&D before I did, so like, And then I basically moved to Canada because this was back when I was in Chile, and started. It wasn't until I moved to Edmonton that we were like, hey, Critical Role happened. And it's like, they were like, oh, they wanted to play, and they're like, but we need to find a DM. And I'm like, I've never DM'd before, but I can try, I said, and then this kind of spiraled out of control.
Nice. And the rest is history, as they say. How about you, Garm? How did you stumble across the magic of D&D?
Back when I was in junior high, a childhood friend of mine came upon the rulebook somehow and was like, hey, do you want to hang out in a dirty garage on a rotting picnic table and pretend to be a cleric? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Sure. We only played like 2 sessions of that, but that was enough to keep me interested. And I think I picked it up again in high school in our high school D&D club with Zio. And after that, not much until I joined up with Midgardia again. I tried to put campaigns together, couldn't get enough people, all that fun stuff. And then I was living with them at the time, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to play a Star Wars game? I know you don't like fantasy." I'm like, "I'm in."
And that's how Tess came to be.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He played that whole campaign with a voice changer because he was playing a female.
That's like some serious truth to your character happening right there. I can dig it.
I couldn't pitch my voice up high enough. Not intentionally, at least. Like, my voice breaks all the time still, but I can't keep that up for more than like 20 minutes or I will lose my voice.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. I mean, you need to have that. Like I've looked into trying to get voice changers for some of my campaigns for the same reason. Because you have characters and you need to have different voices and you need to sound differently for each one, like a robot, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, and that's dedication. So that's like when you guys are all together. Let me ask you a little bit more about Edmonton, because you guys are all from around here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about the community that's out here in this area? You guys all managed to find each other, but what about the greater community as a whole? What do you guys think about that?
Edmonton is full of nerds, and it's wonderful. I used to play on a competitive Smite team. Amateur competitive, we sucked, but we stuck together for a long time, and we were all local. That's not true. 4 out of 5. One was in California, but yeah, there's a lot of nerds, a lot of cool nerd stuff. Most of the people seem pretty chill. I've spent many afternoons hanging out at Warp 1 just talking to like random people.
Mm-hmm.
How about you guys, Zoyo?
I'll admit I am not as involved in the community. I have some anxiety issues. Garm is definitely the one who gets out the most and does a lot of the communication and shilling for our group, honestly.
He's got a killer sales pitch. Excellent.
He does. He likes talking to people.
I'm the charismatic one. Yeah.
You always need one, right? Because I mean, somebody has to be able to do that. Because I mean, even for myself, I have the worst time even trying to meet people and getting out. It's always been a thing that I've always struggled with. It's easy for me to sit here on a screen talking to you guys, doing whatever. Like it's great, but you put me out in a public space and I am not. I shut down. And the worst part is I used to do a lot of YouTube videos where I'd go and talk to people in large crowds and I have to like do interviews and stuff like that. And it was one of those things where it's just like, it was for me, I had to personally like push myself to get out there just to do it. And I'm glad I do, but it's even still now to this day, I still have a hard time. So I get it. It's
absolutely.
It's tough.
I took drama in high school, and that's most of the reason I'm as good at it as I am today. That got me over a lot of the fear and stuff.
Yay, theater nerds!
Yeah. I failed the first time I did it, but yeah.
It's awesome. And the community out there, I do encourage everyone out there to go and check it out because the community as a whole is awesome. Edmonton is a great place, I say, to live and to be a nerd.
Well, one thing we were talking about was the possibility of the three of us going to the Edmonton Twitch meetup that's happening next month.
It is happening. On
the 4th of August.
Dog Daytona. When is it?
Yeah,
because he's in our chat. He's awesome. He's
always I checked just beforehand. Yes, 4th of August.
There you go.
I don't know the times, but 4th of August. It is RSVP, so we kind of had to get on that, guys. But yeah, we had talked about going there because we kind of the other day we're like, hey, we're doing this on Twitch, but like what other stuff is there from Edmonton that is online? And that's how we found the Edmonton Twitch group and you guys and a bunch of other sites that were like, hey, look, there's actually a lot going on.
And there is. And that's the thing. Like even the Twitch, their community as a whole in Edmonton is quite large, and is definitely something to do. Like it's something to check out. I was gonna put it up in emoji, and I can't do that right now. All right, you can see the chat in behind me. It is mostly dog talking about.
Yeah, we always have a community in Edmonton. Like how kind of far flung you guys have become too. You mentioned earlier, I think before we went live, about a couple other members of your group that are not in Edmonton. How far away do you have participation from?
Have we had participation in any of the groups from Europe?
Not regulars in Europe, but we've had one-shots and short mini campaigns. We've had some people from Finland, I think would be the farthest. I think our furthest regular would be New Jersey.
Sweet.
Well, isn't Fury from West Coast?
California, yeah.
Yes, it's actually closer to us, I guess.
Basically, quite a few different places in the States. Definitely.
West Coast and East Coast, definitely the two big hubs of people who join us regularly. But yeah, we have guests sometimes from different places. I keep trying to get a friend of mine who's from Australia to join us, but it's kind of hard to pin her down. I guess the farther you go from whoever's the host, the harder it is to get timings.
Yeah, time zones are. Real life time travel makes everything complicated.
That's why we usually, whenever we do a 24-hour stream, we're like, this is your chance.
Log in whenever you can and we'll be around.
Yep.
That's, yeah. I was over in the chat here, Dog T20, he says he has a list of all the streamers that are in Edmonton. So if you guys want a list and see who's out there, he does have it and he'll send it over your guys' way. Other than that, where can people find you guys on the web and wherever else? Where can they find you?
The way to find us would be midgardia.com, which is our blog, and it has links to everything else. We are our Midgardia RPG on Twitter and Midgardia on Twitch. And trying to keep the cat busy so he doesn't complain about lack of food. But yeah, midgardia.com is probably the best because that has links to all our other
social medias.
Because social media starts. You start getting into this, and it's like, yeah, you should join like Google and YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and Tumblr and have you made a Facebook page, Pinterest, and it's like, okay, yes, you know what? Here's a .com.
Yeah. All right. So that's awesome. So go check them out. That is it. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we will come back. We'll talk a little bit about some of the events that are happening in and around the city. So stay tuned. Once again, I don't know what the ad is, and it'll be put in post.
More sweet background music, more song and dance.
Yeah.
Shuffle.
Acrobatic, aerials and all sorts of crazy stuff happening in the background.
Silks and flying trapeze.
I tell you.
So much CG.
Yeah, so much. We blew our budget on this one.
Yeah.
One ad. Really. Our whole budget of $0. No, we actually do have a budget, but
we are slightly envious.
Someday.
Yeah. So we will get back here. That is it. I'm going to ask you guys one more time where people can find you guys.
At midgardia.com.
Awesome. Oh, and I just unplugged my wrong one.
Please stand by.
Do that again.
Experiencing technical difficulty.
Because I could do this in post. This is great. I never get to edit anything. Where can people find you guys on the web?
At midgardia.com.
Awesome. All right. that's it. That's all. I want to thank everyone out there for watching this edition of the Nerdcast. And we want to ask everyone that who watches or listens to this, if you guys like this, to share it with your friends on social media. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB, and is produced by myself, along with Chelsea Thompson and Trina Schessel. You can find more information on the Northern Nerd Network by checking us out on Twitter at Northern_Nerd, on Facebook.com/Northern Nerd, on YouTube.com/Northern Nerd Network, where we'd actually like it if you guys go there and subscribe and hit that little bell button for whenever these awesome videos are coming up. We're also doing another show right now. I just want to quickly announce, because I didn't do it on the last one. Me and Sam are doing a show as Sam and Dan versus the internet. So go and check that out. It's just me and Sam rambling about crazy things that we find on the internet. That's all it is.
Nice.
Yeah. And so you can also check us out on our very own website, northernnerdnetwork.com. And that is it. I want to thank everyone for watching and or listening to this edition. And I'll see you guys on the next one.